Thanks Trainwell for sponsoring this video.
On today's video, the chicken that helped me lose 100 pounds. Yes, I lost 100 pounds, everybody. Was it easy? No, it wasn't. But this chicken definitely helped me get there. Now, after a while, chicken can get really boring, especially if you're eating chicken breast every single day. But I was able to get creative with it and keep myself in track. Today, I'll be sharing every single one of them with you. So enough talking, let's go. Now you're probably asking me, why chicken? Steak is a lot better. Well, for one reason, chicken has less calories than steak. I wish that was not the case, but it is. So if you want to have a full meal, chicken is the protein of choice. But every time I could get a steak in there, everybody, you better believe that steak was gonna go in there, especially a charcoal steak. So good. Throughout my weight loss journey, there's one chicken that I did more than any other. And I like to call that one Worcestershire chicken because it's super simple to make, especially if you do it right. It can be quite tasty and it's quick. The first thing you need is chicken breast. Remember, chicken breast has a lot less calories than chicken thighs. That's the only reason I chose it. You want to go ahead and dice them in small pieces because you want to make it flavorful. And here's why. Into a bowl, you want to throw in the chicken, followed by salt, black pepper, garlic powder, dark soy sauce, followed by Worcestershire sauce. Now you want to mix that up real good until everything has a nice, beautiful color. Now I would often leave this in the refrigerator marinating. And believe me when I tell you, you don't want to cook it ahead and then eat it later. It's not the same. When it's time to cook, it's pretty straightforward. Throw a little bit of oil into the pan and start to cook it up. The beautiful thing about this recipe is that it only takes a few minutes to cook everything. And if you prepare everything ahead of time, you can get that protein quick. Now this is my go-to and it's very simple to make. And believe me when I tell you, it's delicious. But you always gotta eat it with something else. Worcestershire chicken by itself, not the best, I'll be honest. For my food prep, I will often prepare 3 vegetables. You gotta have white onions every time. Make sure you dice them and leave them ready to go on a deli container. I would also have green onions and tomatoes. I highly recommend putting a paper towel underneath any deli container. This will keep the moisture out of the vegetables and help them last longer. And if you have the vegetables ready and you don't have to cut them, you will eat it more often. Because when they're not ready and you gotta cut it, it's just a pain. Now, even though Worcestershire chicken is fantastic, I love myself some fried chicken, everybody. Who does not like fried chicken? The best type of chicken there is. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with me or not. Because fried chicken is in a whole nother level. And I love making fried chicken. I love the crispiness of it. And I like how juicy it can be. When you're on a diet, you gotta avoid these things. And I was able to make one that is much less calorie, healthier, and it gave me that crunch that I was always craving. Now to make it might surprise you. It's a little bit of a process and it takes extra steps, but if you do it, it will be delicious. Everything starts off with chicken breast once again. The first thing to do is to dry brine the chicken. Now if you are unfamiliar with dry brining, it's quite simple. It's basically putting salt on it and let it rest. Now what that does is that it allows the salt to penetrate deeply into the meat, flavoring the whole thing. Now usually it's done with only salt, but to buy time, I'll be honest with you, I just seasoned the whole thing with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. No problem at all. The pepper and garlic powder will not penetrate, but the salt will. Because once you're done, you want to put it on a cooling rack and let it rest in your refrigerator. Overnight, you will get better results. But until you no longer see any salt left, that's how you know it penetrated in there. But overnight, it just goes in deeper, more penetration. Now, usually when you make fried chicken, you're using one important thing, flour. And that has a tremendous amount of calories. But you're also using oil. You deep frying the whole thing, creating this crispiness, deliciousness. And the texture and juiciness of a fried chicken is just incredible. But instead of using flour, or breadcrumbs. For this chicken, I chose this, cornflakes. Yes, the one that does not have a lot of sugar. You know what I'm talking about, the blue box. First thing you want to do is put it on a plate and crush it up, because now we need the chicken. And by this time, my chicken is fully dry brine. Notice that you can no longer see any salt. That's what you want. Then you want to cut it in small strips. Then you want to run the tenders into an egg wash and immediately on the cornflakes. You want to make sure you coat every single one of them perfectly. Believe me when I tell you. This is a cheat meal with low calorie, so make sure you get that coating. As once that's done, you want to stick them in an air fryer. Now my oven here might look like a regular oven to you, but I have an air fryer setting on it. Cook it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the internal temperature of 155 is reached, take it out and let it rest. Then the only thing left to do is to plate it up, and I highly recommend using some lemon to go along with it. It just makes it better, everybody. And if you want to make it fancy, definitely put a little bit of parsley on top. Now I would have this chicken quite often, and it is phenomenal. It kept me on track and took my craving from KFC. But of course, eating healthy will help you lose weight. But if you want to feel better, you gotta work out. But before moving forward, I want to thank TrainWell for sponsoring this video. TrainWell is an innovative, personalized fitness solution that combines the personalization and accountability of a human expert with the flexibility of technology. Here's how it works. You have an intro call with a personal trainer to create goals and make a custom plan just for you. Then you gotta put in the work and execute. But your trainer will be there to support you every step of the way. There's no shortcuts or fitness fads here. But TrainWell does help make fitness a seamless part of my lifestyle. I love not having to think about my workouts because everything is already planned for me. And if I want to switch up the workout to add more weights or cardio, my trainer Rod will adjust the routine, no problem. Rod is very on top of me and consistently checking on how workouts went. If something is too easy, he pushes me to use heavier weight. Before the weight loss, I used to feel tired all the time. But now, thanks to my training, I have plenty of energy to do all the things I love. The bottom line is this: working out and doing exercise helps you feel better. But eating right and dieting will make you look better. And thanks to TrainWell, I feel fantastic. So click my TrainWell link, go.trainwell.net/GUGAFOODS to get 14 days free with your own personal trainer. Thanks TrainWell for sponsoring this video, but now let's get right back to it. Yep, everybody, I'm telling you right now, I would work out quite often. But there's one other chicken that I really love, and I was able to make it delicious, but a fraction of the calories. That would be my take on butter chicken. Don't come at me, because I'm telling you, this is my take on it, okay? We gotta sacrifice some calories over here. Here's how I would have it quite often. Of course, I would go with chicken breast, and I would add that to a bowl, followed by minced garlic, Kashmir chili powder, salt, garam masala, cumin, smoked paprika, lime juice, and maybe the most important ingredient of them all, protein milk. To be specific, this one. We gotta add some protein in there, everybody, I'm telling you. Now you wanna go ahead and mix everything together and let it marinate. This is one of those that the longer you let it marinate, the better, because it allows those flavors to attach to the chicken and make it better, everybody.
It's so good.
Now, when I was ready to cook the chicken, I would go ahead and add a tiny bit of butter into the skillet, followed by white onions and tomatoes. Of course, you can't forget ginger and garlic. Now you want to mix that up a little bit, then add Kashmir chili powder, followed by some cumin and garam masala. Yes, we're adding it twice. We're gonna make this thing really flavorful, everybody. And to finish it off, you want to go ahead and add a little bit of protein milk, mix everything together, and the most important part, throw everything into a blender and blend it up on high. Now this next step might not be required for everyone, but if you want to make it special in a buttery smooth sauce, you want to run it through a strainer. But if I'm being completely honest, I would often skip this. Too much hassle. But for the video, I'm going to show you the best possible way. Because to finish this dish up, you want to go ahead and cook the chicken. As soon as it starts getting a little bit of color, immediately throw in that sauce. Now the wonderful thing about that sauce is that you can also pre-make it and save it in the freezer, so you can have it ready to go whenever you want to cook it. Now here's the biggest thing about this chicken. It's a diet butter chicken, because in the end, the only thing left to do is to go ahead and plate it up. Is it as good as real butter chicken? No, because it doesn't have all the fat that butter chicken does. But this one is a fraction of the calories. But most importantly, the flavors are there. And I will have it at least once a week. That's how good it is. You definitely want to make the sauce ahead of time though, because that way it just makes this chicken even easier to make. Now the next one is on a whole nother level and probably my favorite one of them all. That's because we're gonna use the grill. And even though I couldn't have this one very often because it cost me a lot of calories, when it was time to cook it, I was excited. Can you believe me excited about chicken? But I was. And that's because I was using chicken thighs. I said this before and I'll say it again. Thighs will always be better than breast. And that's because it has more fat, more flavor. Also, chicken thighs are almost indestructible, everybody. You have a lot more wiggle room to cook it than chicken breast. If you overcook chicken breast, you're done. That's a no-no. So for this one, I would choose boneless, skinless chicken thighs. First thing to do is to get it seasoned, and that's really simple. A good amount of salt, followed by freshly ground black pepper and garlic powder. Once that's done, the next step is to go outside on the grill and start putting a nice, beautiful color on it. But most importantly, as I'm cooking the chicken, I'm also basting it with this sauce. You can see all of the ingredients in the recipe. That is quite simple, and it is a delicious sauce to make. But the key here is whenever you're grilling your chicken, keep basting it. As you're doing so, the sauce will start caramelizing it and create layers of flavor on top of flavor. It is a wonderful chicken and healthy. But most importantly, it helped me keep myself on track. That's the thing whenever I'm doing a diet. It can get quite boring, and I hate boring. I like to eat something something different often. But this one here is a treat because this sauce has a little bit of sugar. And you all know sugar has a lot of calories. That's dangerous. But at least once a week, I would have these chicken thighs. And whenever I could afford it, I would have it as a sandwich. And let me tell you, my friends, it kept me on track. And I would have chicken quite often. And these are the most memorable ones I had. Now, I would also have other things as well. And if you guys really like this video, let me know and I'll make some more. But I'll be honest with you, even though chicken will keep you on track, there's never gonna be something as delicious as steaks. That I can guarantee you. Guys, don't forget to click my TrainWell link, go.trainwell.net/GugaFoods to get 14 days free with your own personal trainer. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one, because on the next video, I'm cooking something insane. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.